This is Ava. Ava just turned 4 and she has mitochondrial disease. She has Lee's disease. And this is her brother Diego. I knew that something wasn't right with Ava when I was pregnant with her. She wasn't growing even in utero, and when she was born she was so tiny. She was 4.5 pounds and we had to work so hard for her to gain weight. So she was failure to thrive even as an infant. And even then it was as if the demand was greater than what we could give her. One of Ava's greatest challenges is that she's not able to walk or talk because she has low muscle tone. Her mitochondrial disease doesn't allow her to have enough energy for her muscles to work effectively enough for her to be able to walk. Or you think about the energy it would take for your muscles to do the work of talking, and so she's not able to talk either. We find that Ava's energy is better when we give her some food or drink every couple hours, and when we give her things that are high calorie. You wouldn't necessarily make that connection, but eating takes a lot of energy. The act of not only putting the food to your mouth, chewing it, swallowing it, but the act of digesting the food takes energy too. And for the gut to stop working is pretty common for children with mitochondrial disease. It's one of the features that a lot of people struggle with. So we're always careful about just kind of keeping track of her nutrition and helping her, to get as much calories in as she can without having to do a lot of work to get it. We know that the data might not be completely correct, that more and more people who were not accurately diagnosed with mitochondrial disease are now being diagnosed. So there may be a whole population of people with a less severe presentation of the disorder who have never been described in the literature. So I have hope that now that Ava celebrated her 4th birthday and she's doing fantastic, I have hope for Ava. I have met children with a diagnosis like Ava who are 15 years old. They weren't supposed to live to be 3 or 4 or 5 years old. So I have hope about the future for Ava. But I spend more time thinking about how to make Ava comfortable and happy today than I do thinking about her future.
What is more recently understood is the complexity of these disorders in humans and how they can present in variable clinical form at different ages and with a wide variety of and spectrum of clinical problems. That means that sometimes people are not recognized by themselves or their family or by their physicians as having a more generalized energy metabolism problem. So we're still learning how to recognize these people, diagnose them and clarify what their problems are, and certainly how to manage and ultimately treat them is still problematic.
My name is Lisa Parker. I'm 28 years old. When I was 24 years old, I suddenly became symptomatic. I woke up one day not feeling right, and I knew something was wrong, and they finally recommended that I have a muscle biopsy. I was diagnosed with mitochondrial disease when I was 26 years old. Mitochondrial disease affects everyone differently. For me, it's more of an invisible illness. You can't tell by looking at me that I'm dizzy and nauseous to some extent every day. I take lots of vitamins, other medications to raise my blood pressure. I take some things to help my stomach and GI things. The others are mainly just for symptomatic relief because there's not really any cure, so it's more just for the treatment. I used to be very athletic and I used to be able to do a lot more than I can do now. I love traveling. In college I spent a year abroad living in England and stayed in touch with friends all over the world and used to go over and visit people in England, went to Ireland and all around this country. But now, I can barely tolerate car rides these days, never mind the plane trip. So this is the longest I've stayed in place, but I hope one day to be able to get out and go visit people again.
What's really exciting about the work that we're doing at MitoAction is a couple things. We're very committed to making sure that everything that we're doing is patient-oriented. When you enter the community of MitoAction, we want you to feel like you're a part of a community that was created for you. MitoAction strives to provide information that is very patient-oriented, that's easy to read, and that was developed so that you could be able to be encouraged and actually have some real useful opportunities that would help you maybe out in the school or with your physicians or in educating your own community and your family about the disease. And when you enter the MitoAction site, mitoaction.org, you'll find that everything there is written in terms of support for the person who has mitochondrial disease.
Scratching paper to pen till the sun was gone, catching glimmers of vision, trimming verses down, tied up every loose end of every new song, but that did not seem to change how wrong it sounds.